Os. Sensei Glick has an unbelievable flying armbar. Flying armbars are so cool, right? Really good for judo too.
Yeah.
But I have to say, like, do this in a very safe setting, right? It's a very dangerous technique. If you don't know what you're doing, like, you really injure yourself.
Yes.
And it's kind of a catch-22, right? Also, because like as you're jumping onto me here, like I could dump you on your head, right? And if I miss it, you break my arm. If I get it, you get injured. So it's like kind of a lose-lose situation. It's not something that I like highly suggest, but it's cool when people do it. Right?
It is, yeah. And also there are ways of practicing it more safely, and we can even show a variation after this. We can show it in this video, maybe another video, where we can do a little bit of a safer variation for people who want to practice it and start to learn a dynamic entry into the armbar like this. But the flying juji itself has a couple of risks, as you said. One of them is my weight is flying onto your body. And so as a result, there's some risk, even if I do it properly, that when you're receiving it, you'll be a little bit off balance. Yeah, you can fall, you can, your ankle, your knee, that sort of thing can go, so it's dangerous. And then if I do it wrong, there's risk to you and then risk to me. So in general, when we're practicing, like this is not the sort of technique, it's not a banned technique necessarily, but it is a technique that you don't just come out and hit indiscriminately. It probably in a randori context or in a jiu-jitsu sparring context, this is not a technique you would hit standing up in a, if we're among friends.
Yes, definitely. High risk, high reward, and the reward being you get to post it on Instagram. That's like the only reward. You know? Let's just do it once, and then we'll talk ourselves through it. I like this cross grip, block control.
Yeah, so we just need to make sure that we keep this extended arm here. So I'm taking an overclass grip, but you could also have an underclass grip. And then whether we're fighting for this hand or not, we're looking to secure this grip. You can hold the wrist. A little quicker is just catching the arm here by going elbow to elbow. What we're going to look to do is we're going to bring our outside leg up, and we're going to fit it right into this space, the same way that we would do if we were lying down on the ground. If we were in the cross-side position, I would want a leg here across the body, and then I would want a second leg, the cross-face leg, to come across your head. So you need to have some elevation to be able to do this. The target, not only this leg, but more importantly, the hips up here into the armpit. So my goal is not hips onto his hips, right? But rather a full commitment of hips up here into the armpit. And a lot of times when people jump, they tend to focus on the position of their legs rather than the position of their hips. So whenever we do a flying juji, we're always looking at the position of our hips relative to our partner's armpit, not just what our legs are doing, okay? So we take our grip, we're gonna begin in a bent stance. This leg is gonna go first, it's gonna carry my hips up here, and then the second leg, the cross-face leg, comes in, and we land in a position like this. Now from here, we've got good control. A lot of times out of this position, you'll end up rolling your partner, they'll end up rolling through here, and you'll put them down in this fashion. Occasionally, if the person's a lot bigger than you, you'll be able to, you'll stay standing. Then you got a risk of a slam and all this stuff. But most of the time when we're dynamic and we're moving, it comes out like this. The other thing I'll say is that hitting this with a partner who's bolt upright is a lot harder than hitting it with someone who's slightly bent over, right? So if we're here and we're totally upright, my hips have to travel a really long distance, right? So that's why we can do it, especially if we have a crash pad and we want to practice something like that, we can do it. But otherwise, it's going to be a little challenging. So we'll do one more time though with kind of a more upright stance. We've got our grip.
And there's a reason why I have a cross grip.
Yeah.
Right. And now it's going to prevent. Right. This is a sort of a safety thing. It's a training wheel situation, right? As opposed to here, right? If I go across, it gives me a little bit more control over your upper body, which kind of helps you in this process.
Exactly. And it's more of it's a deeper commitment here, so this arm is more extended, right? If we're here and our arms are at more of a full arm's length, my hip has to travel from this place to here. It's a little bit farther. And when you're doing a flying technique like this, every inch counts. So we want to make sure here, this brings us already a little bit closer, as you can see. Okay? All right, so one more time. So we have our cross grip secured, we have our grip here, or we can control. We think about hips forward. My target is the knot of my belt into his armpit here. And then we keep everything tight. We focus on a back heel. And here's a good landing on the shoulders. If we wanted to take our partner through, we would be able to continue to roll them over in this fashion. Okay?
From the other angle.
Sure. So we grip, we hold. Notice that I'm not going to jump from all the way back here to try to bring the hips up. We'll bring the hips a little bit forward. And we're going to put our far leg underneath the armpit. Here. And we also want to make sure we're controlling our partner's posture so they come down with us. That's why we're keeping this grip. Now from here, we're free to scoop a leg, settle our partner down, and we're in, ready to finish the juji. So, before everybody freaks out in the comments, remember this is like not a technique that you go and decide that you're going to practice. You don't tell your partner what you're going to do, and you go and you jump into it. This is the sort of thing where we work together to develop it, and then we'll do a video.
Flying omoplata, and I'll put it on your channel.
Yeah, perfect. That sounds great.
Also, quick note also, right? I know you said like half bent position is better, right? Notice because it's a lot closer, but when he's drilling it, I want to be completely upright because as he's throwing his body, I want to be able to deadlift or squat him down safely, okay? If you start here in the most vulnerable position he goes, right, I might drop him on his head, right? So that's really, this is very dependent on having a good uke, having a very strong and jacked uke.
Yeah, choose someone who's stronger than yourself when you're starting to learn this. It's always a better thing. If the person you're working with is much smaller than you, you're setting yourself up for some disaster.
Yeah, so go slow, right, and then final omoplata next, right? It's going to be really cool.
Let's do it.
Thank you.